could foreign aid give us the prosperity? Could it be achieved through begging for foreign aid? The answer, according to us, was no. These are, however, not enough to defeat greedy and aggressive parasites. It is partly for this reason, but also for the purpose of implementing the economic integration of the markets easier, that we, the African revolutionaries, and we, their young followers, this East African Federation, with one army, will provide perpetual insurance for the freedom of the black race and other freedom-loving people in the world.
The time is now. This unifying and Africa-changing script that Museveni is implementing with East Africa, it is beginning. It's the beginning of one Africa, starting with Eastern African continent. It's perfect. Now let's get the West, the South, and the North to jump in on this. Sync up. Do your part. The foundation has been laid. I so enjoy and learn so much about how tying in history to our present matters for long-term goals and solutions. And this man, Yoweri Museveni, is a pleasure to listen to. He doesn't confuse anyone with the hippopotamonstrossus-equipped dilophobia, which is a phobia that people have that get lost with big words and they don't understand them, like that one. It's a type of speech that most politicians and lawyers use when they want to make something bad seem good or benefit their own personal agendas. Museveni, on the other hand, keeps things straight up with his speeches. Issues that seem so simple that aren't. That's why most people can relate to Museveni, because he spells things out. He simplifies out the goals with plain text without the flossy-nossy nihilipilification of political dialogue norms. Let your yeses be yeses and your noes be noes. That's kind of what he does. He gives it a KISS, a kiss. Keeps it simple, stupid. Thank you, Museveni. We appreciate it. So how do you keep the dirty, imprehensible political wars and revolutions simple for those who are directly involved in the issues or live on that land? Yoweri Museveni is the way to do that. He does it. In his State of the Union, he gives the address with minor details in layman's terminology. That's what makes things clear and concise. You don't walk away with a riddle to solve. You just know. That's why I want to just tell you right now, this is one of the greatest moments in the African Revolution. And Museveni brings it up that this is a revolution that has started. The younger generation in Africa has started this revolution, and here's what we're doing with it. Here's how we're going to get it going. Here's how we're getting it going. One Africa. Defeat greedy, aggressive parasites. That's a good start. Anyway, grab a drink. We are going to watch this Museveni clip together. We'll go over some pieces of it together too. That's where you come in. That's where the comments come in down below on what else can Africa do. Because Museveni calls out on the people to get this thing going and help out, not just the governments. And that's what it's all about. It's about the people. It's about you. It's about Africa. One love, uniting as a whole. And we're seeing it today in the world. So grab a drink and check it out.
To receive the address of His Excellency, the President of Republic of Uganda, on the state of the nation.
And what remains to be done, and what is the main obstacle on that transformational road. Our movement came on the scene initially as a student movement, getting elements from the old political parties of UPC, DP, and Kaweka Yeka that had sectarian platforms, misusing the politics of identity, religious, tribal, and gender chauvinism. After careful analysis, we established that Africa needed us to pursue three historical missions. If Africa was to survive and thrive, that's how we looked at it. We looked at it as a matter of survival. If Africa is to survive, we thought it had to do the following. The three historical missions are prosperity for the African people, including the people of Uganda. Are the people of Africa entitled to prosperity or not? Secondly, strategic security for the African people. Do the African people need to be secure from all threats, from wherever? And taking advantage of the brotherhood of the African people to achieve the first two missions. These Africans you are talking about, do you know that they are either similar people or they are linked? How was the prosperity of the African people to be achieved? Could it be achieved through begging for foreign aid, as some were emphasizing? Could foreign aid give us the prosperity we are talking about? The answer, according to us, was no. The opportunists that promote sectarianism and parochialism are enemies of wealth creators, starting with their relatives. They are pseudo-prophets. Banabi Abib Shuba, Banabi Abobulimba. The Historical Mission of Prosperity pushed us to discover the second NRM ideological principle, that of pan-Africanism. Love East Africa, love Africa. Those who are the guests who are not from here, from East Africa, they had us playing two anthems. The anthems you had, one anthem is for Uganda, the other one is for East Africa. We insist on that in order for us to get out of poverty, we need Uganda, we need East Africa, we need Africa. Why? It is because you need them. You need East Africa, you need Africa for your prosperity, other issues aside. We need the East African market, we need the African market, and we need the global market. The commercial area is buying goods and services worth US dollars 2 billion, 2.157 billion from Uganda. Therefore, the NRM was right to distill the principles of patriotism and pan-Africanism, and to oppose groups that were pushing for parochialism in Uganda and Eurocentrism globally. You know, when we were about coming to government, I went to Europe, and the Europeans asked me, because our old political parties here, the Democratic Party was allied to the Christian Democratic Party of Germany. They were actually being supported by the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. The UPC was being supported by the Social Democrats. They have got their group. They are the ones who helped them to build the Uganda House, to start building the Uganda House. Then the government built it using government money. And when we came, some people wanted me to take back the building. I said, no. So these fellows expected us to side with the European parties, Social Democrats versus Christian Democrats. I said, sorry, I'm not part of that crowd. I am an Afro-centric person. I start with Africa. I don't start with Europe. I'm not a European. So we refused to join those groups. They had a Christian International, Socialist International. We have never gone there. Never. And we told our people clearly that our focus is Africa. And here, I'm giving you facts now. I'm not talking about stories here. I'm talking of cement. The list is too long. I couldn't finish it. I didn't talk about maize, about bananas, about beef. You know what is happening. It is Africa that is supporting us, and we are also supporting them. Therefore, the NRM was right to distill the principles of patriotism and pan-Africanism, and to oppose groups that were pushing for parochialism in Uganda and Eurocentrism globally. After the careful analysis, we realized that our prosperity, first and foremost, needed patriotism, that is love Uganda, and pan-Africanism, love Africa. The third principle of the NRM ideology is socio-economic transformation. We don't give loans for importers of perfumes and dead people's clothes. You know, I was having a big discussion with them here. Those importers, I cannot give a loan to somebody, soft money, for somebody to import dead people's clothes and import perfumes and whiskey and so on. No. The Uganda Development Bank money is for manufacturing, for agriculture, and for some of the services. If you want to import perfumes, go to the commercial banks. All we have said above is targeted to enable us to create prosperity for ourselves through wealth creation. The second historical mission is strategic security for Africa. African countries, or indeed other countries in the world, may be prosperous economically. Strategically speaking, however, they may still be vulnerable vis-à-vis other global actors. We are working on implementing a limited space program for overhead observation and communication, broadcasting and telephone communication. We shall have an overhead imaging satellite at an altitude of 600 to 700 kilometers in space, and another one for communication and internet at 36,000 kilometers in space. That one we shall share with the other East African countries. These are, however, not enough to defeat greedy and aggressive parasites who seek four-dimensional superiority on land, land forces, superiority in the air, air force, superiority at sea, navy, and superiority in space, space forces. It is partly for this reason, but also for the purpose of implementing the economic integration of the markets easier, that we, the African revolutionaries, our departed elders, such as Kwame Nkrumah, Mwalimu Nyerere, Sekou Toure, Mzee Kenneth Kaunda, and we, their young followers, put forward the principle of political integration as another element of the pan-Africanism principle. While we always aim at creating a continental common market for the whole of Africa, we also aim at creating a regional political federation where possible. While it is possible and desirable to create a continental common market, a political federation which represents a maximum form of integration should only be for peoples who are either similar or compatible, and preferably with a common language. This is how East Africa has always been the best candidate for political integration. We have the good fortune of having the neutral dialect of Swahili that will easily be the official language of the potentially very powerful Federation of East and Central Africa. This East African Federation, with one army, a common citizenship, in addition to wider common market already talked about in this speech, will provide perpetual insurance for the freedom of the black race and other freedom-loving people in the world. It will have a defense capacity to be present in the four dimensions: land, air, sea, and space. How can you insure cars, you insure houses, you insure individual people's health, but forget to provide insurance for the African race? This was a mistake in the past. How can we repeat the same mistake? In 1963, our leaders were about to achieve this goal. I want to give to the Right Honorable Speaker a historical picture of the pages of the Uganda August. It is there on the screen, that picture there. Federation this year, that was 1963. I will give you a copy, Right Honorable. I give to the Right Honorable Speaker a historical picture of the pages. And it was the 6th of June, like today, a historical picture of the pages of the Uganda August newspaper of the 6th of June 1963 that captured that moment. The picture below is, yes, the picture below, you can see our elders, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Mwalimu Nyerere, Mzee Milton Obote, with others, including a delegation from Somalia, declaring the intention to achieve the federation that year, 1963. All the subsequent calamities that befell this part of Africa would never have happened if we had achieved that goal that time. The calamities I'm talking about were the seizing of power by Idi Amin in Uganda, the massacres in Burundi in 1972, the genocide in Rwanda, the collapse of the state authority in Somalia, the prolonged civil war in Sudan, or even the Renamo war in Mozambique, etc. There was no way Idi Amin could seize power here if we had an East African government. It couldn't happen. But the fragmentation, the pseudo-sovereignty, you can imagine when Amin grabbed power here, Africans who wanted to oppose him could not do it easily because they were being told, Uganda is independent, Uganda is independent. And even when Amin was killing us, when we would try to get support from other people, we would be told, no, it is Amin's right to kill you because you are his subject. You are his subject. So that missed opportunity was a big setback. A united East African state with one army would never have allowed these tragedies to happen. Indeed, it is the East African cooperation that eventually enables us to solve these problems. However, coordinating multiple sovereign units is less efficient and less prompt in terms of action compared to a united East Africa. The third historic mission is to simply recognize the brotherhood and linkages among the African people and use them to achieve historic missions: number one, prosperity, as well as number two, strategic security. As we have pointed out a number of times, the African race is only comprised of 4 groups of linguistic classification. These are the Niger-Congo, which includes the Bantu and the Kwa languages of West Africa, the Nilo-Saharan, which includes like our languages of the Nilotic languages and the Nilo-Hamitic, the Afro-Asiatic, which includes the languages of northern Ethiopia, and the Khoisan. Khoisan they are called the Bushmen in South Africa. They used to be called Bushmen. These groups have linguistic similarities within each cluster and linkages between them. In other speeches, I have demonstrated this. You can check on those explanations. The NLM line has been that the people we are trying to unite for the sake of their prosperity and strategic security are either similar or linked. It is therefore a betrayal for the African political classes to fail to grasp this and instead preach sectarianism, parochialism, etc. I therefore call on the Ugandans, especially the Bazukuru, to audit what has been achieved vis-à-vis the 3 historical tasks and the 4 ideological principles of the NRM, see what has been achieved and what remains to be done. Then you should do your own part to do what is not yet done. With patriotism, we have been able to unite the majority of Ugandans. That is why the NRM always wins with a majority on the first round when we go for elections. On the side of pan-Africanism, we have revived the East African community together with the Wazee Daniel Arap Moi, Al Hassan Mwinyi, and Benjamin Mkapa. Later, our brothers from Rwanda, Burundi, Congo DRC, South Sudan, and recently Somalia joined the East African community. Therefore, let all the East Africans insist on full free trade in the East African community area and eventually in the whole continental free trade area, CFTA. This is the second task of the Ugandan wealth creators: struggle for the completely free trade, East African community and Africa. The first task of the Ugandan wealth creators is to ensure that all the adults engage in wealth creation in the four sectors of commercial agriculture with the Kibaro, Chura, Otita, Aymar profitability assessment, manufacturing and artisanship, services and ICT using the provided funds of PDM, Emioga, GROW, UDB loans, etc. The third task, after we have fully recovered from the adverse effects of corona and other negative global phenomena, ensure that we provide completely free education for the Ugandan children in government primary and secondary and tertiary institutions, so that we achieve our target of Bona Basome, education for all. The fourth task is for the Ugandans and other East Africans that have got the right spectacles to see how the black race can survive as a free people, or even survive at all, to struggle and bring about the creation of the East African Federation. We have long proposed the movement of the willing. When Mwalimu was let down by his contemporaries on this issue, he moved with Mzee Karume to unite Tanganyika and Zanzibar to form Tanzania. It has been a great success. If we all can move together, it will be good. If we cannot, let the willing move. The crucial point that needs to be done is for the Pan-Africanists to be more active in pushing for the struggle for the political federation of East Africa and for the full economic integration of the common market of Africa. You should aggressively expose those who work for foreign interests and are always diverting our people through the media to the interests of the foreigners. If you read the papers, nobody is talking about African integration. You pick the papers, social media. What is your future? If you don't know that integration of the market is our salvation, then how can you be in leadership? What are you leading? Are you a leader unto darkness and death? How can it be that you read the papers? Nobody. Football, music, cinema, I don't know what. Okay, you can do those things, but you must survive fast. You should aggressively expose those who work for foreign interests and are always diverting our people through the media to the interests of the foreign parasites. The African race will enjoy football and music better. I am a footballer myself, you remember? However, from 1966, somebody asked me, what European football club do I support? I said, what? I was a footballer, but from 1966, when we started our struggles here, my mind is on the future of Africa. I like football, but you cannot have football if you are a slave. The African race will enjoy football and music better if you also contribute to the creating of an African center of gravity in the form of the East African Federation. Task 5, eliminate corruption in the public service and from among the political leaders. I've been getting good information about corrupt actors among the public servants, but also among the political actors. With firm evidence, we shall crush these traitors. Corruption is, are you hearing me? You are hearing. I think the corrupt have brought rain. You know, they work with our rainmakers. I have been, this is not in the speech here, but I can mention to you, I have been hearing that people, even in my office, take bribes from people to bring people to see me. Can you imagine? But fortunately, recently we arrested one of them. He's alleged, according to the rules, I should not be accused that I'm saying something sub judice, which is in the court. He's alleged to have extorted shares and money from an investor who was coming from somewhere. He's now in court. So we are moving, we are going to get them. I have been hearing stories that there is a racket from the Ministry of Finance to Parliament. To Parliament, I have been hearing, but now I have proof. I have been hearing that from Ministry of Finance, they arrange with the accounting officers of ministries to come to Parliament, working with some people there, to provide certain funds, provided you take a share. I didn't believe this, but now I have proof. So therefore, really the corrupt are like the foreigners. You know, some of these foreigners don't know Uganda, don't know us. When you see them doing what they are doing, and those who support them, I'm very sorry for them, because they don't know how strong we are. We are patient, we don't overuse our strength, but if you make a mistake, you will see. So, I don't know how those who threaten us, this one, please, we are wasting your time, we are not going to move. Because we are sure, we are people of here, this is our land, we want nothing from anybody, so you are wasting your time. Don't come with the threat, you are wasting your time. Uganda is a land of martyrs, but not only martyrs, but also heroes. We are celebrating 2 days, because the martyrs don't shoot back. But we are both martyrs, but also heroes. On the 3rd, we are celebrating Martyrs' Day. On the 9th, you remember 9th, you come. We shall be celebrating Heroes' Day. We are fighters. Nobody can play around here. So I feel really amazing that some of our people can join this corruption, knowing that we have the capacity to crush all this group. So now I have got proof that what I've been hearing as a rumor is actually true. So I don't know how we can arrange amnesty. No amnesty. Very good. So you want blood? Mwagala musanyi. Kale katugende mu maaso. Public servants and political leaders that steal government money are corrupt and will be crushed. There are, however, other actors that get bribes from foreigners to work for foreign interests. These are both corrupt and traitors, and we are monitoring their activities. If they do not stop, and with evidence, we shall deal with them also. As part of fighting corruption, it is crucial to save the amateurish political actors who come into politics without knowing that leading people does not mean carrying them on your head. It means that you show them the way. The situation of inexperienced, careerist-minded leaders who do not listen to the advice of the NRM is further complicated by the bloodthirsty parasites in the form of the unregulated money lenders who charge extortionate interest rates from these desperate political actors when they come to borrow money for unuseful expenditures. I've already directed the Minister of Finance to cap the interest rates chargeable by money lenders. The inflation rate in Uganda is 3%. Why should the commercial banks charge 20% interest? I was reading some comments, especially in the Monitor. You know, Monitor is a mouthpiece of foreign interests here. The Monitor newspaper. Oh, talking about this, talking about this. There's one of them who was writing today. I glanced through. Was saying that Uganda has low inflation by fortune. That is by fortune. Imagine. He doesn't want to say that NRM has managed the economy well. That's why inflation is low. That it is a mixer. It was fortune that we have got low inflation. It's not fortune, it is planning. Monitor Bambi Mbasaside. But Monitor, the other time, I saw a cow talking. When you see a cow talking, then you know that Jesus is about to come. Now, Ugandans turn to local products to combat high cost of living. You remember our war with the importers. This was, Lekerau, hold it there. This was Uganda Monitor newspaper. A cow talking, saying that because we put tax on the imported products, imported dead people's clothes, and that rubbish from outside, that now Ugandans turn to local products. This was, which date was this? 30th of what? Of May. You people, you get Monitor ente etanso kwogera. A cow is talking. Because that's what we said. Why don't you buy the local textiles which are being made here? Otherwise, in today's paper, I was trying to say, oh, this one. But you listen carefully. I will conclude with that. Uganda's economy and society are moving forward. The mistakes by some actors notwithstanding. The foreigners interfering in our internal affairs are not a threat at all. There is no foreigner who can threaten us. No foreigner can threaten us. I have written a piece I will share with the Ugandans on that. The real threat to Africa's progress have been internal weaknesses, such as undermining the private sector. I mean, 1972, when he expelled the Indians, interfering with the private sector. Wrong concept of army building, sectarianism, corruption, etc. Otherwise, Africa's ability to defeat the imperialists had been demonstrated by Samora Machel defeating the entire Portuguese army in Mozambique in 1974, Robert Mugabe and ZANU defeating the Ian Smith regime in 1980 in Zimbabwe, the Cuban army comprised mainly of black soldiers defeating the white Boer army at Quito Cuanavale in Angola in 1988, etc. So our armies defeated European armies. In the 1970s, it is our internal weaknesses that have since that time given the impression that Africa is weak. NRM has correct philosophical, private sector-led efforts, ideological, the politics of interest and not identity, and sectarianism, and strategic wealth creators and integration to create markets for their products positions. That is why the economy is growing in spite of the betrayal by the parasites. With the crushing of the corruption, Uganda, given our overall correct positions, is unstoppable. Everything else is in place. What is the problem now is just corruption. In the budget speech, I will add some more information on this line, saying that everything else is in place now. It is only corruption and a few other mistakes that can sabotage what we are doing. Finally, I want to salute the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and the NRM MPs. In the past, there was a risky and shallow tendency by some actors that would try to use Parliament to undermine the Ugandan revolution, which is part of the African revolution. This, of course, was a miscalculation that was provocative, but we managed to handle it peacefully. Right Honourable Speaker and your team, I congratulate you for working harmoniously with the executive. I'm told some of the foreigners are saying that Anita Mongo, because he doesn't undermine the executive, she's not a good speaker, because she should be Okulemesa, government. Very risky miscalculation. Now, on the issue of the corruption, my advice is you should make a distinction between mistake makers and dishonest people. Dishonesty is the worst. But making mistakes, especially for many people who have not listened carefully, it's not. I wouldn't be surprised. That's why many times I try to help out groups who have made mistakes. But what I cannot tolerate is like this question of saying we give money to this ministry, but we take a percentage of it as individuals. This is dishonesty. It's not a mistake. It's a crime. It's a betrayal. Or the ones who go abroad, these foreigners have been approaching our people. They all bring reports. Have been approaching our people. You go and make a bad report against the government of Uganda, and we shall give you an award, and the award will have so much money attached to it in Europe. I wish them good luck. That money of betrayal, we are following it up. We are following it up. They think that we are fools. I don't know why they think so, but we follow all of that. So those two, the dishonest and the traitor, are the ones we are targeting. The mistake makers, we can counsel them and show them how to do things. Because if we are to punish all the mistake makers, we will have nobody to work with. Because they don't know what to do. They don't listen. There are so many languages. This one is saying that. This one is saying that. So dishonest, foreign agent, mistake maker. Those are three people who need to be handled differently. I salute all the Ugandans for the good work you are doing. Madam Speaker, it is my pleasure to declare the fourth session of the 11th Parliament open. I thank you very much and hope that the coming session will be fruitful. God bless Uganda. God bless Africa. Apoyo Matek.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
How'd you like that, ladies and gentlemen? Yoweri Museveni coming straight forward, one army, one East Africa, and out with the deception and out with the deceit in their own government and abroad, outside of the government. I love it. This is the day. This is the time. This is the moment. And the way he had mentioned for Africans to seize this moment, jump in. You got this. And I want to say we're with you here. We're supporting you. One love, and we'll hopefully you like this video. Please like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Love you all. Bye-bye.